Hello, good evening. Today is Monday, May 6th, 2024, and I am excited to bring you guys another episode of PreWorkOut Chat. Now, this morning I kind of woke up late, so I didn't exercise this morning. I kind of got caught up doing some other stuff, so I ended up just skipping the workout for this morning. So I'm going to essentially do the morning workout and the after work workout. I'm just going to do them both at the same time. The stuff that I'm doing today is just going to be the lower body and the core. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys. And I love having this set up. So let's zoom in. Here we go. So yeah, today we're going to do some sumo squats. It's a three-way calf press. Essentially, all I do is I just turn my feet into different directions. It just helps work the calf muscle all around and stuff. So I kind of have one where I'm pointing my toes out. Then I have one where I'm pointing my toes inward, and then I have the neutral way. So that's why it's a three-way calf press. I actually learned this through P90X. So that's actually how I had learned about doing a three-way calf press. And next, after that, I got some hip abductors. And so it's not that many for the leg day, really, when you look at it. It's only like 4 exercises. So that's why it's okay just to combine it with the PM workout. So I got some weighted crunch, deadlift. I got some weighted oblique twist. And then I got some leg lifts. I'm not sure if I'm going to throw in the cardio. Just remember, I don't know if you guys remember some of the other stuff that I put in my videos, but if you paid attention, you'll know that the cardio is like an optional exercise for me. I do, typically speaking, just generally how it works is like Sunday, I do like my upper body. Monday, I do the lower body. Tuesday, I fast and rest. Wednesday, I do upper body. Thursday, I do lower body. Friday, I fast and rest. And Saturday, I eat my normal diet and just rest. And then I'm all set to begin the week all over again. And if you look at my workouts, you know that I have an AM workout and I have a PM workout. And sometimes I throw in some cardio, but the cardio is purely optional. I'm already doing a lot of work. If you looked at some of the data that I put out in my videos, I capture everything using my Garmin watch. I like Garmin's new update that they did to the app because it can kind of it highlights the areas of your body where you was doing the most work in. I'm pretty sure it's not that accurate, but it gets the job done. And matter of fact, it almost identified the workouts that I were doing, which was kind of cool. It didn't do it for all of my sets, but it did it for some of them. And it's almost pretty good with identifying the number of sets that I do. I still have to correct it, which is sometimes what you see me doing when you see me doing my workout and then you just see me in my watch. That's actually me entering the sets and the weight that I'm doing for that workout. So yeah, so I'm already doing a lot of work. When you look at the data from my Garmin watch, you know that I typically burn about 600 to 700 calories when I just do these workouts. You do see I do have high volume. I typically, for like chest and back, I'm doing like 5 sets of 12 reps. And for shoulder and arms, I'm doing 3 sets of 12 reps. I actually yesterday when I tried to do this new routine, and I tried to do the shoulders and arms, I originally started out with 5x12s, just like I had did on for the chest and back, but I just couldn't do it. My muscles was already pretty weak from the prior workout. I had also did that cardio, so I had to kind of drop it. Also, I was not feeling really good in my shoulder, and I just didn't want to push my luck. I even skipped the barbell shrugs yesterday because of that. So yeah, so I'm just assuming that today, now that I got my pre-workout, I think that pre-workout is going to carry me through the workout. So I'm pretty sure I can hit these 5x15s. And again, it's only like, 4, 8. It's only 8 exercises. And most of this stuff right here is just going to, most of the core stuff is just going to get knocked out. What I am worried about, as you know, I'm obese. I got a big belly. Doing some of the core workout typically leads to a lot of cramping. So usually I kind of leave the core stuff out. So today is really a test day to see if I can handle, doing core work along with my lower body. Now, if I get an excessive amount of cramping, that's pain. And what pain does is, this is not the pain from growth. This is like the pain from the flaws in my autonomy of the body. And so what this is going to do psychologically is it's already hard to get yourself into this mindset to work out and to build muscle, because you have to fight through that pain. You have to fight through that soreness. But and as a matter of fact, it really should not be painful. Lifting weights should not be painful. Yeah, you should go through some soreness, but it should not be pain. If you encounter pain, that might psychologically stop you from working out, because your body's going to associate pain with working out, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So if it turns out that my gut is just too big to do the core exercises, I'm just going to go ahead and scrap it until I reach like 300 or 290 pounds, and then I'll reincorporate the core workout. I do know when I used to weigh around 290 pounds, I did know that I could do core workout. Back when I was younger, when I was attending the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, I was actually enrolled into Army ROTC. I wasn't enrolled as a soldier. I was actually just in the officer training program. And if I basically, had I got the weight down and stuff like that, because at the time I was around 290 pounds, had I got the weight down, I would have been able to enlist as an officer after graduation. So anyway, so that didn't work out, and I'll actually get into that later, because that's kind of the story of my fat is actually the subject of today's pre-workout chat. So anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of review with you guys, my workout and its breakdown and stuff like that. So yeah, just to re-illustrate, if I have some pain with the core workout, I'm just going to go ahead and exit off. I will keep that deadlift, and I will put it up in here. And what I will do is, if I can't do the core workout, then what I'll do is I'll just have like a mandatory cardio workout. So I'll wake up in the morning, and I'll go ahead and do the leg workout, including the deadlift. And then when I come home from work, I'll just go ahead and just jump and do the cardio for about 45 minutes to an hour. And so that's my plan. So listen, I don't believe that a workout plan needs to be static. I don't have a professional making this stuff for me. Everybody has some uniqueness about them. Though we're not all, though at the base level we're not different from one another, but everybody has their limits. And I believe that when you get on these programs, you need to figure out what works for you. And by figuring out what works for you, you can create a sustainable program that you can do. Like, for example, with my diet, I'm doing like this carnivore diet, right? I don't know if this will be sustainable for me. I can only try it out, and so far it's been a success. I mean, I did have a crash where it was the time when I was trying to carb load. And I did end up crashing for like about 2.5 weeks. But for the most part, the carnivore thing pretty much works out for me because I'm a big carb type of person, and I'm basically doing like kind of psychology where since I love carbs so much, I'm basically consuming the opposite, and that's why I do the carnivore diet. Yes, I understand there's some health benefits to the carnivore diet, like it's inflammatory, and it has shown to have like good effects for people who might have diabetes and stuff like that. So I do understand that. But that's not really the core reason why I do the carnivore diet. I just do the carnivore diet because I did a whole lot of diets before and it just didn't work for me. And it didn't work for me because I have such a bad relationship with food. And again, I'm a big carb person. So whenever I crash or anything like that, I was always eating something sweet like ice cream or cookies and stuff like that, junk food, a lot of fast food and stuff like that. So with the carnivore diet, I pretty much can't order anything. I mean, there's really nothing to order because everything is going to have some carbs in it. I do know like stuff like Chipotle might have like a paleo menu, and that's nice and everything, but it's not going to be what you want it to be. You're not going to. It's going to be overly priced, and you're not really going to get much. So that's why the carnivore really works for me. I do like the idea of the paleo because at least I can still have vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. But it is what it is. So that's why I do the carnivore diet. So again, you just need to figure out what works for you. And and that's why I have these talks with you guys. That's why I have these, that's why I have the PreWorkOut chat. It's not only for me to rant, but it's for me to have like this like one-sided conversation with you guys so that you're following along on this journey and you can also interact on this journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate people, rooting for me and stuff like that. And I really appreciate people, telling me, stuff that I could do. Like the one person who made a comment about, taking your phone and putting it like this so that you're able to capture like everything and stuff like that. Those are great advice and stuff. And that does help the quality of the channel. And I appreciate you guys for that. And I really like it when people want to throw in information about diets and stuff like that. Or talk about exercise because I want the comment section to be a discussion, and I want people to kind of join in. You know what I'm saying? I would love it if other people sent me links to them working out or them talking about their diets and stuff like that. Because, again, this channel is not like, it's not monetized or anything like that. I work a regular job. Hey, kitten. I work a regular job, and so that's what as an accountant, so that's how I make my living. This to me is for fun. You know what I'm saying? This is a blog. I mean, it would be nice to get monetized, but to me, I'm a regular person. That all that YouTube stuff seems kind of like beyond or whatever like that. I like, when I get into a project, I like trying to give it my all. That's why I try to improve the quality of my videos. That's why I try to, get the, utilize softwares and stuff like that. Like right now, I'm using this OBS studio and stuff like that. So I'm becoming very familiar with that. And learning new skills, that's also like another benefit from, trying to do this like YouTube thing. So, don't ever think that that I don't get something from putting these videos out there. I'm not getting money, but what I am getting is experience. I'm learning new software. I'm learning how to make more quality videos and stuff like that. I don't know what I would do with this knowledge, but it's nice to have. You know what I'm saying? It's like something you could put in your back pocket. You know what I'm saying? And if I ever know somebody who wants to do YouTube and stuff like that, it's like I could pass on the knowledge to them, show them hands on, like, oh yeah, this is how you do this and this is how you do that. So yeah, that's why That's why and also it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable to learn new things and stuff like that, and really get to apply that knowledge and stuff like that. It's fun. It's fun for me. So this to me is more of a hobby. And also another benefit that I get besides learning new software and learning how to manage a YouTube channel is that I also get this accountability partner. Like when I was crashing, the first thing that was on my mind, it was disappointing the people who subscribe to my channel. I got like 33 of you guys, which is awesome. Like I never expected to even get like one subscriber, like maybe some family members or something. So maybe I expected to get like maybe 2 or 3 subscribers. Like shout out to my sister. She's a nurse right now. So that was pretty much like the only few people that I thought would subscribe to my channel. I didn't really think that I'd get like that many people subscribing. So 33, I think that's like a big number, to be honest. And so I just thought about these 33 people who were wishing me good luck and stuff like that. And I was just looking at that and I was going, man, I don't want to disappoint these guys. And so that is really the biggest thing that I get from putting out these videos and stuff like that. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I'm about being very transparent and stuff like that. Because it's like, how can I show other people and take other people on this journey of losing weight, building some muscle, getting healthy? It's like, how can I bring people along this journey if I'm not transparent? Because, you see all these other guys on here and, they do their thing. And it's like magic sometimes, because I see them and I go like, wow, you lost a lot of weight. And it's like, how did you do it? So that's what that's about. So, it's not all, what's the word? Altruistic? I probably mispronounced it. So I do get a benefit, even though it's not monetary. I do get that benefit, and you just don't know how powerful that is to have like an accountability where I don't want to disappoint other people. And you have to think, like, I've started routines before, I've started diets before, and they've always crashed. And why? It's because I've always been alone, and I didn't really have anybody who kind of made me feel like I need to do something. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you guys for being that somebody, because truly, you all are what I was missing up to this point. So that's why I'm on this path, and I'm happy that you guys are with me on this path. Anyway, that wasn't the main part of this pre-workout chat, but I had to get that off my chest, because you all know that my pre-workout chats are mostly pre-workout rants. Anyway, so one of the first subjects that I wanted to get into before I get into the main part of this pre-workout chat was I wanted to discuss some things that I had saw on YouTube. So I know I'm pretty early in my training to be thinking about certain supplements and stuff like that. But yesterday, I was working out, and I just felt like, how far could I get if I had something that can help me, push myself when I'm in the gym and stuff like that. And, as you guys know, I am a pretty big fan of Coach Greg Turk. He's a IFBB pro. And so one thing that I noticed that he has is that he was promoting this supplement let's see if I can pronounce it correctly. I know I'm muffled mouth. I think it's called Turkesterone. Here, I'll let you guys see for yourself.
Okay, as in the previous video, I said I was going to explain the science behind turkesterone, where we sourced it from, why it's so much better than everything else. And so if you're into the science of turkesterone and why it works and so on, this is the video for you. If you haven't watched the previous video, I do suggest you watch it. And if you have no...
So anyway, in his video, like he pretty much kind of details how, turkesterone, it's not like it's not like a testosterone, but it pretty much comes close to a testosterone. It kind of mimics it in a way, so you don't get like the negative side effects. And so I thought about trying it. I saw some videos of people trying Turkesterone, but that was like the first version that Coach Greg was promoting, and that one, it turned out that it didn't really have the actual turkesterone in it. It had some of the different versions of it. And essentially, what the turkesterone is from what I understand, it's like humans have testosterone, and that's what we can use to essentially make ourselves stronger, or basically just something that can help us push us in the gym, neglect the pain a little bit, and allow us to recover faster. And so that's what testosterone does to people. So you still have to put in the work if you want to grow. Something that I think bugs or something can, the version that bugs can basically get is turkesterone. I think that's like the bug version of testosterone. And essentially, it's like, it's weird how it's formed. It's formed on a plant, and I guess essentially like the bugs pee on it or something. I don't know. It's like they do something on top of the plant, and it causes it to produce this turkesterone or something like that. I could be getting this all wrong. It's like I've only saw like a few videos on it because I'm still in like the research phase of it. My cat is. She wants some attention. Oh, you missed me all day. You missed me all day. I'm back. I'm back. Anyway, sorry. So I was looking at that. I'm going like, yeah, you know what? I don't mind having like something. I don't mind taking something that can help push me. Now, the only thing I kind of noticed from the limited videos that I've seen online for turkesterone, because again, a lot of the videos that you see online is for the old version. This new version is, according to Coach, is supposed to have like, it's supposed to actually have the actual turkesterone in there. Not that there was anything wrong with the last one, because the last one, people were definitely getting results from it. And of course, when it comes to supplements like this, unlike actual testosterone, when you have supplements like this that can kind of mimic testosterone, it doesn't really take with everybody. So apparently there are like some people where this stuff will absolutely probably not have any effects on. So I could be one of those people if I choose to try it. Again, I'm not sure. I'm still in the research phase, but that's something that I might try later on. But I just wanted to bring it up in this video in case I do decide to try it later on. And I think it would be a good video series, so that if people were thinking of trying this turkesterone, because again, it's 100% natural, right? So since it's a natural occurring substance that you can find in specific plants in different regions of the world. I mean, well, no, not different regions. I think there's only a few regions that you can even find this plant in. It's not artificial like testosterone. testosterone is not a natural occurring substance. So again, that's also why the turkesterone is not going to like probably give everybody the effects that they think. But I think if it can improve your muscle building, improve your performance in the gym by even, I would say, if it does it by even 1/6 of what testosterone does, I think that's still a good boost. And I will also put it out there. I really don't care about the whole natty thing. Um, I have no qualms with people using performance enhancements or anything like that. It's like you do whatever you want. It doesn't really affect me. Uh, and it's the same thing with me. It's like if I ever chose to take any type of performance enhancements, or if I ever had like any issues with my own testosterone or something like that, where my testosterone started like dropping or something like that, I would most definitely take supplements and stuff like that to keep my testosterone up. So I've already thought about that in the future, and I'm already like mentally prepared for such situations and stuff like that. But that's also why I am trying to get healthy now, because at the age of 35, I started kind of like feeling some negative health effects. So I decided, the obesity is killing me, and it's time to like get healthy. So I'm trying. That's why I'm trying to be proactive now to really get make sure I don't die. Okay, kitty cat. Okay. You're gonna make me kick you out. Your tail is like all wishy washy. Anyway, so I am thinking about doing the turkesterone, and I'm thinking if I do try it, I think it would be a unique video series because one. I really haven't been in the gym consistently. I've been in and out of the gym for short periods of time throughout my life. The only time I consistently trained was when I was in high school or when I was with Army or ROTC. Those were like the only small periods of time where I actually trained consistently. Uh, so technically, I'm still kind of a noob in the gym, so I could still get those newbie gains. Uh, Also, I'm obese and stuff like that. So it would be like an interesting video series to see how turkesterone can, play out for people who are like myself. And who knows? It may prove to be like a really good tool to keep you in the gym, because again, like I said, if turkesterone can just mimic like 1/6 of the effects of actual testosterone, I think that would be like enough to boost your recovery, boost your pain tolerance, and all of that together will just keep you in the gym longer. And I think that would be like a good trade off. Now, the only thing I would think would be some of the negative effects of turkesterone, and I'm just basing it off of a video I watched where a guy like, I think he had like 3 bottles of the Turk Builder, and that was the first version of the turkesterone, and he said that it made him feel more hungry. So I think that would be like the biggest negative effect of taking this, is that, especially for somebody who's obese, is that if it actually does make you feel hunger, uh, that can be like that could be a bad thing. I'm not sure if because you're obese, and if you're trying to lose weight, you your diet, because of the caloric deficit, is pretty much going to limit how much muscle that you can actually build. So your real focus should just be on just losing the weight. It's kind of hard to do both, like lose the weight and build the muscle. but for somebody like me, I enjoy the thought of building muscle. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're fatty and flat and stuff like that, you know, you kind of like picture yourself and go like, man, I wonder what I look back if I was jerked, if I was like stronger, if I had the muscle. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually pretty decent right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to convert the fat into muscle. So that's kind of like the big thing when it comes to like being like big and stuff like that. So that's why I actually focus so much on my workouts. That's why I really focus so much on like lifting the weights and stuff like that, because that is what helps motivate me to keep it going. Is to because I like seeing the weight go up. I like seeing that I can now push myself more and stuff like that. I enjoy the feeling of the pump. I rarely felt the pump, but my last few workouts, I've actually felt the pump, and it was magnificent. So, I guess I'm chasing that pump, and if Turkesterone can give me an even better pump, I think that's just going to pretty much just keep me going. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I'm imagining when I'm thinking about this Turkesterone is I'm imagining that when I take this supplement, I might feel hunger, or I might feel a little bit of anxiety or something like that, because again, I'm just going off of some stuff that I've seen online. I think Coach Greg may said something about anxiety or something like that. So I know once I do, if I do try it, I know I'm not going to go with the full dosage. Of course, I'm just going to start out with like a low dosage, and I'm just going to work from there and just see where that takes me. Or I might go with like the mid dosage, because I think for Turkesterone, I think while I was reading the label, I think you could take up to like 3 of the supplements per day. So instead of taking 3, I might just take 2 starting out and see how that makes me feel. And I don't know. That was kind of what I was thinking if I was going to take the Turkesterone. But yeah, like I said, I imagine that I might get like stronger hunger pains. So if that happens, it might eliminate the fasting that I do. I do 2 days of fasting per week. And I don't mind sacrificing the days of fasting, because all I would do is I would just probably just incorporate more cardio. Instead of it being optional, it'll probably just become mandatory if I just stop doing the fasting. So there's that, and I'm just imagining in my head that the Turkesterone is going to make me want to lift more. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make me want to push more, and it's going to allow me to really reach new levels of strength a whole lot faster than before. So that's kind of what I'm imagining when I'm thinking about the Turkesterone. But and again, it's a maybe. I don't know if the side effects like hunger or anxiety, or I don't know if it might mess with my sleep. I don't know if those will be worth the effects of Turkesterone. It's something that I'm still weighing. Again, this is not written in stone. I'm not sure if I even want to try it. But I do think that if I did try it, I think it would be more to create like a video series so that people can see the effects of Turkesterone on somebody like myself. And who knows if it actually do work out and people, and it does give me like a positive effect or something like that. And if that inspires more people to take Turkesterone and stay in the gym and lose the weight and get stronger and get healthier, I would consider that a win. So no, like I said, I'm still kind of wishy-washy on whether I want to try it or not. But I am starting. I will say this: the only thing that kind of led me down this route of thinking about trying to find something that can help get me the edge was partially because of the pre-workout. Like, this pre-workout has been a lifesaver when it comes to working out. It really does help a lot in the morning. The creatine has also been a lifesaver when it came to working out. It's made the recovery a whole lot better. I wish I was using creatine when I was younger, because it really did make my recovery a whole lot better. And I noticed as I got older, my recovery has kind of like dimmed a little bit. But with that creatine, I feel like my recovery is kind of back at the rate when I was like in my 20s and stuff like that, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so that's kind of what led me down to thinking like maybe if I had something that can kind of help push me, that would help balance the negative side effects that I have for having such a low caloric deficit, because that low caloric deficit, it kind of like, it's draining me, you know what I'm saying? And then also because I'm doing this carnivore diet and I don't have those carbs, you know what I'm saying? Like, the glycogen in my body is just getting like kind of like sucked out and stuff like that. So my body is trying to use my fat as energy and stuff like that, which is great. Burn all the fat that you want, body. Go right ahead. But it's not as using ketones is just not as, it's not as strong as using carbs, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like carbs is such a great energy source for your body. Like, your body uses it. It's like, I feel like you can push yourself more when you have carbs in your system than when you don't have your carbs in your system. Because I think carbs is like more of a readily available energy versus ketones. Takes a little bit of work to create because your body has to break down the fat and stuff like that to create it. So, and that it is what it is. That's, there's pros and cons to using different energy sources in your body. So, I'm hoping that I can counterbalance the side effects of relying on ketones instead of carbs with something like turkesterone. But then again, who knows? Like, the turkesterone might not work too well in a body that has like low energy. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. It's still a debate. I haven't reached that. I don't know. Give me like 1 or 2 months, and then I'll come up with a decision of whether I want to try turkesterone or not. All right. So, in this video, I definitely wanted to go over the story of my fat. Let me get that right there. So I actually kind of narrated the story of my fat inside this Excel document. Let's see, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. All right. So I actually have different weight loss markers. Each of these markers represent it represents a time in my life where I weighed a certain amount, and there were maybe like some important things that was going on at that time. And believe it or not, one of the things that kind of helped was I was actually surprised to see how long I've been using like MyFitnessPal. I've been using MyFitnessPal for such a long time, and it actually still had a lot of my old data in it. So that's one of the ways I was actually able to pull some of my weight, my body weight, from certain periods of time. So I kind of start like at the beginning. Um, so I would say, and just for reference, I'm going by the weight. There were different I don't know, that might not make a lot of sense. Let's see, how do I want to narrate this story? Okay, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll start in the beginning, right? So 228 pounds. So as I told you guys before, um, here, let me see. All right, so as I told you guys before, back in high school, I actually used to be on the boys' varsity swim team. I wasn't actually too bad, to be honest with you. I made it all the way up to varsity level. Um, my coach always put me in the long distance swim, which annoyed the hell out of me. Like I always wanted to do like the short distance sprints instead of the long distance. Like I definitely had the speed, but the problem was is that there was guys on our team who didn't really have like the speed like that, and so the coach would give them the short distance stuff, and I would end up doing the long distance stuff. So anyway, so from 2004 to 2008 was when I was in high school, and believe it or not, since the age of 7, I've always been pretty big, uh, and I think that my weight fluctuated somewhere between 228 to 240 pounds during this period of time. I know there was a point in time when I was on the boys swim team, and I think this was my senior year or my sophomore year, but I just remember weighing myself and it showed 228 pounds. And this was when I was at my fastest. So, and I think that was like in 2007. So that should have been I should have been inside my junior year. So that's getting down to 228 pounds to me is a marker that represents when I was at my fastest in high school. So this is my high school weight. This is my best when I was in my high school weight. So after high school, I eventually attended the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Um, let me see. So I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Now I will say this. I don't know like how it happened, but let me see. Where was it? So it should have been like at some point. Now I will put this out there. My mother was dying of cancer when I was in high school. So mentally speaking, I really it was just something that was weighing on my mind. So after the swim team ended, after we had our last meet, I really wasn't, active, and I really wasn't, putting in much effort. And so, especially during the summer, I basically end up like kind of like gaining more weight. And eventually, when it was time for me to attend the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, the same day that I was supposed to leave was the same day that my mother passed away. I tried performing CPR on her, but it really wasn't effective. Uh, the paramedics said that it did help and stuff like that, but it really didn't. So anyway, my mom passed away. My grandmother was able to get me to get on the bus And because remember, I used to live in Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago. So I got on the bus and I went down to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And by this time, my weight, it was basically October. And I weighed myself and I was essentially around like 290 pounds. And I just didn't even understand how that happened. I didn't even realize it, but I was at 290 pounds. So what I ended up doing was, again, this is October. This is now October 2008, and so I decide I'm going to join Army ROTC because I'm just gonna because I wanted to use them to get me back in shape. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get into shape. So that's why I joined Army ROTC. And for the most part, you know, it was working out pretty good. It was working out pretty good. I was in Army ROTC between like October 2008 all the way to September 2009. So when I was first starting out in Army RTC, everything was hard. Everything was hard. Trying to do the runs, trying to do the push-ups and pull-ups and stuff like that, the training drills, all of that was so hard. But gradually, slowly but surely, I started getting stronger. I started getting way better than how I was now. It was absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, all right. So instead of me like really, narrating the story of my fat is awesome. But I thought what I would do is include some visuals, right? So it's like I said before. I used to be on the varsity swim team, so here's a picture of me and the guys. This is actually me right here in the background. So when I said at my lightest weight, I was around like 228 pounds. This is what I'm referring to. I said like my weight was like pretty much somewhere between like uh 228 to 240 pounds. This is me when I think I was like around closer to 240 pounds. Let's see. Now, when I eventually went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, let's see, where do I have that at? 2013, Alvin. All right, so I was with Army ROTC, and so this was like one of our. This is some pictures of when I was at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and this is pretty much my Halloween costume that I dressed as when I was in Army ROTC. Scaring people. It was a. I didn't know in college that you were supposed to be. That Halloween you're supposed to be slutty or funny. Like this guy. I didn't know that, so I kind of went overboard. I'm not going to lie. But like I said, when I was in Army ROTC, I did manage to get down to 274 pounds. And so this is pretty much me, jarhead mode. This actually, I believe this weight was when I was around 280 pounds, I think. Yeah, this should have been me when I was like around like this should have been me when I was like around 280. Okay. Yeah, here's some. This is some more. This is high school me again. I'm trying to find it. I had like a really good picture. Let's see. Back to the photos. Where did I put it? Albums. I probably had different profile pictures, so I probably could find it. Here we go. So this was me when I was at 200 and I think 74 pounds. Yeah, I was basically this. I would say at that point in time, that was when I was at my strongest. So when I was in Army ROTC, and this was basically around, I would say the springtime. So this was right before summer. 274 pounds. The reason why this weight is very important to me is because this was when I was at my strongest. I was actually even at 274 pounds, I was so strong and fast that I was actually able to switch out from how we had our different running groups was we had them by levels. So I was actually able to go to the more advanced level because of the speed that I was actually able to achieve even at 274 pounds. Funny story for you military people is when I first showed up for my first PE, I didn't have running shoes. So I showed up in my boots. Yeah, the army boots that they give you, I showed up wearing my army boots. And that's what I had planned on doing my the PE in. Yeah, the sergeant really wasn't he wasn't too happy about that. He was saying that you're going to tear your feet up, but I didn't think I was going to tear my feet up. I thought it's actually running in the boots felt a whole lot better than running in gym shoes. Like I felt like the boots gave me more traction and stuff like that, and it could handle the force of my legs. So that's why 274 is such an important is a weight marker for me because that represents when I was at my strongest. So you already see how 200 you already see 228 is an important marker for me because that represents when I was at my fastest. This represents my high school weight. 274 represents me when I was at my strongest. This was also a time when I achieved, I would say, even though I was still dealing with my mother's death, I would say as an adult, I achieved kind of the ideal lifestyle that I wanted. So yeah, that's a very important weight for me. 290. I would say 290 represents probably like the average weight that I was when I was in my 20s. Eventually what happened was things eventually take their toll. So my grades were suffering when I was at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Now I did tell the people in the office about the issues that I was having. I did tell the counselors and stuff. My mom passed away. The people didn't try to help. They were so obsessed with trying to make me a student worker that they just pretty much sabotaged my career. I mean, I was sabotaging my own college career, but they pretty much were assisting me with that. Like, for example, I actually had a scholarship. The scholarship was actually a decent amount. It gave me $4,000 a year, 2,000 in the fall and 2,000 in the spring. And you would think that would be enough to, ensure that I get a decent little refund, and that refund would pretty much just keep me afloat for the rest of that semester, and I really wouldn't have to work. But they always did this. They always made sure that I always owed like somewhere between $500 to $800 every freaking semester. U of I did this to me. It's sick. They were sick. I did not. I love the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, but the people who worked there, they were absolute scum. They were scum. They were just they didn't care about the students. They just cared about making a dollar. They didn't care about what you went through. They were just thinking about what can they do to try to extract money from you. So yeah. And here's the thing, I even did an experiment. Because I would get my own scholarship checks. It's just that the checks were made out to the University of Illinois, so I couldn't cash them. So what I did was I actually withheld the scholarship check. I waited until the full financial aid was processed. Until it was processed. And you know what happened? Guess what it said? It said I owed them between $500 to $800. Usually it was like around $500. And then I gave them the $2,000 check. And guess what? They then wrote me They then wrote a refund check to me for $2,000. And guess what happened? They later reversed everything, and they went and took the $2,000 out my account. So they put $2,000 in my account, and then they took $2,000 out my account. So I was already dealing with my mom's death. I was also working to try to pay off my debt and keep some money in my pocket to cover my living costs. The University of Illinois made sure that I was always indebted so they could keep me as a freaking working work student. I forgot what they called it. They gave us a certain title. And not only that, but at the time I was banking with it was with USA Bank, and I never will forget this. USA Bank at the time, and it was because of stuff like this that led to the banks changing how they do overdraft. But essentially what the bank did was somebody was purposely controlling how transactions appeared on my account. So for example, I would get paid on a Thursday. And I would think, okay, I put some money on my student account. I paid my cell phone bill. So I got some money that I could use to, have some fun on the weekend and stuff like that. So I would think I'm good. Monday would come along, and I would look at my account, and I would see, oh yeah, I still got some money on my account. Because again, I wasn't an accountant back then, so I wasn't savvy with the cash. I just went with my bank balance. So when I logged into I would call, get my bank balance, and it would tell me how much I have in my account, and then I would make my decisions based off of that. Lo and behold, they would essentially wait until I've spent all of my cash. And by the way, I've confronted them about this, and they would literally say, well, we can post any transactions that you did with your card. We can post that anywhere between 3 to 5 business days. And so they would literally wait until I've tapped out my account, and then they would post the transactions. And so my account would then overdraft, and they would charge me an overdraft for each transaction. And then they would charge me an overdraft for every day that my account was in the negative. And so by the time my next payday came, they basically took all of my money. And it was because of crap like this that led to the feds literally coming after predatory banks like USA Bank. This is why a lot of the banks started having issues, was because they were doing bull crap like this to people like me. And so I was dealing with that. And all of that together, it really didn't create a good mix. And not to mention that at the time, U of I, they literally designed their first courses for the freshmen. They purposely designed them to fail you. And literally the teacher will tell you day one, this course is designed to fail you and stuff like that. So they did this to try to weed out the weak, I guess. But yeah, so I end up having to leave the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I came back to Chicago. I actually, during that last semester, because I was there basically from fall of 2008 all the way to all the way to the winter of 2009. So during that fall of 2009, I actually had quit the Army ROTC. And partially I quit it because I had gained back the weight. So when I left Army ROTC, I was at 274 pounds. I think I was actually less than that. And when I returned, I was back at 290, and I felt shame. So that was really the reason why I didn't go back to Army ROTC, and I tried to salvage my grades, but I didn't really. That wasn't successful. So I ended up leaving the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So now that I'm back home, and it's now 2010, I started having, some ups and downs. Like, first I tried going to Everest College because I was going to be like a medical assistant. That didn't work out. There was like something with my financial aid. The guy just went like gangster on me. It was like weird. I didn't know where his hostility came from, but he was like, if you can't get your dad's finances or whatever, because again, my dad was being a hard ass and he wouldn't give me like all of his finances. He said, if you can't get your dad's finance records and stuff like that, don't you come back here. And so I end up quitting the medical assistant program at Everest College. And you know what? Good riddance. And that's why that school ended up getting sued and stuff like that. So screw Everest College. I end up getting a job working as a janitor and stuff like that. So for a good portion of time, in my early 20s, I was like 290 pounds. Then eventually, I end up attending Illinois Institution of Technology. So we're now in this session right here, right? So I end up going to Illinois Institution of Technology, and I was going there for game design. It was awesome. I was learning how to draw. I was learning something that I was actually interested in, which was making video games. It was fantastic. But then a problem came up. So eventually, like I would say in 2011, right? I'm in Illinois Institute of Design and Technology, and I think it was Midwest Games. They used to be in Chicago, and then they left. And then at the time, a lot of gaming companies were leaving the United States. They were going to like Norwegian countries or something like that. I don't know what the deal was. And so the gaming industry kind of took a hit around 2011. And so I kind of like changed my thoughts on this. I said, you know what? I want to go ahead. And by the way, at the time, it was very hard for me to find a job. So after I had like this one janitor gig, I didn't really have another job after that. So when I was at IADT, again, the school was fine. When I gave them my scholarship check, guess what? I got a refund. I got a really good refund back, and that's what I used to keep myself afloat. Shout out to my grandma who let me live in my uncle's house. And that's pretty much, so I didn't have to pay rent. So the money that I got back pretty much paid for my food. I couldn't get things like food stamps. Um, Programs like that isn't really designed for men. So anyway, when I was at Illinois Institution of Technology, I was having a great time, but because the gaming industry took the hit, I wanted to secure my future. Also, I wanted to move out of my parents' house, my family's house. So I said, let me go and drop out of IEDT. Because at the time, you could get a double bachelor's if you wanted to. This was before Obama's administration had changed the financial aid. So I was telling myself, let me go to school, let me become an accountant, because the government websites were showing, the accounting industry was going to have a major growth, and by 2028, it was going to have I think a 28% or a 30% growth, and there was going to be a lot of different accountants who were going to end up retiring because they would have aged out. And so it was supposed to be a very secure type of job. And it said, the average pay was between 45 and 65,000 a year. And I went that's fantastic. Let me go and do that. Never trust the government. So I dropped out of school. I still couldn't find a job. And, my sister, she used to live with us, and she also ended up moving out because, she had some kids and she had a boyfriend. So she moved out of the house. So it was just me alone in this house with no money and no source of food. And so I was starving. I actually had a cat at the time too. He was a wonderful little companion. His name was Alvin. He tried. Listen, it got so bad where I was starving. I used to have this green tuck-it sheet that was on my bed. I would basically lay in my bed all day and night, and essentially got to the point where I could not wash my sheets and get the it had this brown stain over it, and that was because of the pigments of my skin. I literally rubbed on my bed, my skin rubbed on my bed, and it just pretty much just changed the color. And nothing can change that dingy color that was on my sheets, and it was crazy. I was literally dying. It was so bad that my cat would literally hunt and bring birds into my house, half alive. He would bring these birds into my house for me to eat. He would literally bring them close to my bed, drop them down, and then walk away. And just stare at me. And I was like, are you trying to get me to eat this? That's how bad it was. And anybody who have any negative thoughts about cats, I will let you know cats are just as loyal as dogs. If your cat is not loyal to you and wouldn't do something like that for you, it's because you're probably not that great of a person. You're probably not that great of a person. I really do love cats, and I'll never forget my little buddy. But anyway, so at the time, I was around 290 pounds, and I ended up starving all the way down to 239 pounds. I was absolutely shocked. I don't think you guys understand. Because this was the summertime. So I think it was literally over the course of three months, I was basically damn near starving to death. Here's the thing. I would essentially walk 3 miles to the library just so I could watch anime. And I would walk 3 miles back home. So that didn't help. Um, Eventually, I had learned about food pantries, and I learned that in some of these like churches or whatever, they give away these boxes of food, and that's how I actually survived. Again, I couldn't find a job to save my life. McDonald's wouldn't hire me. I literally had a McDonald's that was about 5 blocks away from my house. They would not hire me for nothing in the world. When you went into that McDonald's, all you saw was women. You might have saw one dude or two guys working in the back, but the McDonald's was always just nothing but women. The manager was the manager was a woman. The hiring manager was a woman, and she only wanted to hire other women for that McDonald's. She was a complete sexist, bitch. Listen. You at that when I went to interview at that McDonald's, they literally had women coming in with strollers. I literally said, "I live 5 blocks from you guys. I can work any shift. I just need the chance to work." That wasn't enough for these people. You see, I don't have any tattoos on my face. I don't have tattoos. I'm not a gangbanger and stuff like that. You see my hair. This is typically what I even looked when I was in my 20s. I didn't even have all this facial hair. I only had like a small mustache. That wasn't enough for these people. They only wanted to hire women at that McDonald's because they're sexist. And I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't get a job to save my life. I had to walk like 5 miles to get to a doggone food pantry and lug that box home. And that's pretty much how I survived. I survived off of stuff from like a food pantry. And that's the only probably reason why I just didn't freaking die of starvation. But for like that first month, I was just dying. But eventually I learned to survive, and I got down to like 239 pounds. Believe it or not, I had told myself when I was at 239, I went like, because at this point in time, I now was in Harold Washington College. The classes started. And so I was able to get a refund from Harold Washington College. And that refund really did, because it was the Pell Grant and it was my scholarship. I don't even know how I was able to keep my scholarship going, but I'm very thankful to those people. But that scholarship came in handy. So I was getting back like anywhere between like $2,000 to $3,000 every semester. No, I think sometimes 2,000 to 4,000. It depends, but that's how much I was getting back per semester, and that is what kept me afloat. And at that point, I started to eat, and the weight just clung to me. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. The weight, every ounce of food that I ate, it just wanted to cling to my body. And that was because I had starved. I starved so hard that everything just clung to me. So eventually, I graduated from Harold Washington College, and I enrolled into DeVry University, and my weight eventually got all the way back up to like 270 pounds. By the time that I graduated from DeVry, let me see, because I got everything kind of written out. Let me see. Solely over time. So yeah, so the refund started coming in. Eventually, I did manage to, while I was attending, I eventually, let's see, I think it was somewhere between Harold Washington College and DeVry. Eventually, I got a job working as a security guard for Walgreens, and so that was more money coming in. So thanks to the refunds I was getting from school, which was anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000, And on top of that, the money I was getting in from working as a security guard for Walgreens, which, by the way, working as a security guard, we weren't allowed to have no type of protections for ourselves. They put me in the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago, and it was very stressful. So eventually, Wendy's came out with no, it wasn't Wendy's. It was Burger King. Burger King came out with a. Matter of fact, let me update that. Burger King. It wasn't Wendy's. So Burger King came out because McDonald's had a caramel frappe. So Burger King wanted to get in on that frappe gang, and Burger King came out with a caramel frappe, but their frappe was a lot stronger than the McDonald's frappe. Their frappe almost tasted like it had like coffee grinds in it. It was very strong. I absolutely freaking loved it. And so that became the way that that I dealt with the stress of being a security guard in the most dangerous neighborhoods of Chicago, was thanks to that frappe. I absolutely loved it. And my weight loved it too, because that kept clinging on to my weight. So by the time that I got into DeVry, because remember, I started out at Harold Washington College. Let me see. August of 2011, and I transferred into DeVry January, I think 2013. And so by that time, my weight had got back up to 270 pounds. Eventually, I graduated from DeVry in 2014, and my weight had got up to 290 pounds. So yeah, there we go. I'm back at that weight of like 290 pounds. Now it was so hard trying to find a job, because this was the skit, right? Chicago, I really wouldn't call Chicago a racist city. Chicago is more of a cliquish type of city. Think about a clique when you're in high school, right? That's pretty much Chicago. It really depends on who you know and what crowd that you're part of. If you were living in Chicago, I wouldn't suggest that you live in any crime-ridden neighborhoods. You would want to be in the most upscale neighborhoods, because they do like a zip code discrimination. And again, it's not based off of race. This is really just based off of your economics. So a lot of these jobs, they'll look at your zip code. And actually, I did do an experiment where I changed the zip code on my resume, and a lot of people were doing this. This is kind of what exposed it. But if you put that your zip code was, let's say, downtown Chicago, they blew up your phone. If you said your zip code was like in the Gold Coast, which is like the north side of Chicago, they blew up your phone. The problem is that, and I was just going to go with it, but then I got so nervous, because when I actually got an interview, the lady interviewing me was asking me questions about that damn zip code, about stuff that was in that zip code. Like, and I just didn't know what the hell she was talking about. So I didn't get the job. She knew I was bullshitting. And it's like I got so nervous and stuff like that, because I don't like to lie. So since I got so doggone nervous, I end up just changing the zip code back to my zip code, which was from the south side of Chicago. It was so hard finding work. Like, even when I was attending DeVry and I was finishing up with all of my core accounting classes, I thought I could get a job as an accountant. However, these people, they didn't want to hire me. They kept saying, "Oh, why don't you wait till you finish college and then you could try applying to us?" Oh, it's like they kept talking about, I need to have the degree first before they hire me. It was a requirement to have this degree. I needed to have this degree. So by the time I actually got the degree, which was in it was basically summer of 2014, right? Summer 2014, I got the degree, and guess what? Oh, you don't have no experience. You got the degree, but you don't have no experience. Come back when you have like 3 years of experience. Freaking boomers. So eventually, I landed a job working in a company called Bobby E. Wright Comprehensive Behavioral Health Center. That was my first accounting job that I got. I would have got this other accounting job working at this property management company. They were located on the north side. And what happened is that I started out as like a temp. I was basically covering for a lady who went on to maternity leave, and she never came back. And so the guy needed somebody to fill in the accounting role that I was already doing. And instead of him giving me the job, because he was just following his little man downstairs, he decided to offer the job of an accountant, which, by the way, remember, at this time I have my degree and I have the little bit of experience from working that temp. I was already doing the lady's job. Instead of giving me the job, he decided that he's going to offer this job to this older white lady who was an event planner. And by the way, she was married. And that dude was married. But he was thinking with his little pickle, because obviously he wanted to do stuff with her. And she even said, I know nothing about accounting. Like, I don't know the first steps to doing that job. And this dude was talking. And by the way, I was literally right across from them as he's trying to say, oh no, I could show you the way and stuff like that. And then he was like you don't understand. This dude was a creep. He was like touching her shoulder and shit like that. He was even rubbing her back at one point in time, trying to assure her that she can do the accounting job. She didn't want the freaking accounting job. She's an event planner. That's all she wanted to do was be an event planner. She didn't even need to work that job. She was just working as a secretary for the front desk because she was a temp as well. So I didn't get that job. I guess he wasn't attracted to me. So, but I eventually did land it at Bobby Wright, February. It was a nonprofit, and they paid me crap. They took full advantage of me. My boss was this older black lady who did not have a degree or anything like that. She was just taught accounting. And some of her knowledge on accounting was pretty outdated. She didn't really know everything. She just basically just went off of like a prescript in her head. So with that being said, I did a lot to improve some of the processes at that company. And the ladies there I'm just going to put it out there, they were also very sexist. They started my payout at like $32,000 a year. I eventually moved from the AP to the AR role, and I think they only boosted my pay up from $32,000 to $35,000, right? No. They didn't even boost my pay. They didn't even do anything with my pay. They just let me transfer position. So I had to train my replacement, and she was a nice lady. And guess what my replacement told me? My replacement told me, why are you making less than me? Because, see, I also handled the payroll, too. So I actually got to see everybody's pay. The lady told me, because, again, we're looking at each other's pay because I'm literally training her on her job. So she looked at me and was wondering why she was getting paid more than me. Now, she used to work in the credit, no, not the credit union, but she used to work in the credit unions. She doesn't have a degree in accounting or anything like that. She just, was a teller and stuff like that. So that's what she did. To get that job, I had to have a freaking degree, and these people only wanted to pay me $32,000 a year. And I didn't have a choice but to accept that pay because nobody else was hiring me. And while I'm thankful for the opportunity, it still rubbed me the wrong way to just learn that right off the bat, this lady who came in, they were paying her like I think $38,000. And I did ask for a raise before anybody wants to like go to the comments. I did ask for a raise. And you know what? They absolutely refused to give me that raise. She literally looked at me like, oh, like she literally looked at me like, and the look in her eyes was, quit. I'll call your bluff and stuff like that. Quit if you want to. She refused to give me a raise. She was just a misandrous woman, and she didn't want to pay me anything. So I ended up leaving. I didn't have a job lined up, but I was able to get them because they were so delinquent with my pay that was enough for me to claim against them, and I was able to get unemployment. And so I was basically unemployed for a little bit. Oh yeah, by the way, like when I started at Bobby E. Wright, because again, remember how I said how it was hard for me to find a job? Well, my student loans were becoming due. So I basically joined my master's program so that I can avoid paying my student loans back. So I only worked at Bobby E. Wright for about a year. Because again, I started like February 2015. That's also around the time that I started my master's program. And I ended up quitting, I think like around, let me see. I left Bobby E. Wright in 2016. So I was at Bobby E. Wright in 2015, February 2015, and I left Bobby Wright in 2016. Now, this is where the roller coaster with my weight began. Now, mind you, I've only ever weighed like at most like 295 pounds. I never ever went over 300 pounds. But one day I weighed myself. So I had pulled this from MyFitnessPal. So on May 12th, 2014, I had hit 303 pounds. Now, mind you, working in Bobby E. Wright, it was a little bit hectic because I was dealing with people who had certain mental disabilities or handicaps that kind of they weren't able to control themselves. It was also in a bad neighborhood. Like a few times we actually had gangs or whatever like enter in our place, and it was like weird. It also wasn't that clean. Like there was like mice roaming around and stuff like that. There were roaches and stuff everywhere. My boss had like a dead rat in her office that she just didn't know that there was a dead rat in her office. So sometimes we would get the smell and we didn't know where it was coming from. But eventually I figured out where the source was, and it was like literally in front of her desk in the corner, like behind, slightly behind one of her shelves. So yeah, it wasn't that great of a place to work at. It started kind of bothering my lungs, and I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't in a great place in my life. In 2015, all the way through 2016, I was having some issues at home. My sister, she had moved back in. I had an uncle who was living there temporarily. Eventually, we kicked him out because he was doing stuff like stealing from us and stuff like that. And eventually my sister came back home, and she wasn't that great of an influence because she started having a lot of baby daddy drama with her different boyfriends and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a hot mess, and I just started eating. So 2014, let me see. So around February 2015, I was around 297 pounds. So this is when I started at Bobby Wright. I was at 297 pounds. Then Sorry, I gotta correct that. It'd be 15. So then May 12th, 2015, I hit that 303 pounds. And I noticed the weight already kind of stacking up because that did scare me when it hit that 303 pounds. And essentially, I started different weight loss programs and dieting. It's like I was started and fail. I was started and fail. I was started and fail. I had enrolled into I think the first gym I ever signed up for was called Bally Total Fitness or something. They ended up closing down actually. Then I end up going to like a different gym. I think it was Blast Fitness. Oh man, that Blast Fitness was a story right there. But Blast Fitness. You were destined to just crash. But anyway, so essentially by the time I left Bobby E. Wright, which was March of 2016, which by the way I didn't have any type of job lined up, my weight has slowly but surely crawled up to 347 pounds. Here's the thing. It was like a blackout period. I don't know what the heck happened between May 12th, 2015 and March 2016. But something happened where my weight just crawled up to 347 pounds. It was crazy. It was just like a blackout period. I didn't even know. So that's why 303 pounds is a very important weight marker for me. 303 pounds is a very important weight marker for me. Because this weight represents the fall. This right here was the blackout period. So as you can see, 228 pounds. This was my high school weight. This was when I was at my fastest. 290 pounds. That kind of represent the average weight I was in my 20s. 274 pounds represent the strongest that I've ever been when I was at Army ROTC at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. 239 pounds represent a time in my life where I was basically starving to death. And I was at this crossroads where I just didn't know what to do. And 303 pounds represents really the ultimate decline of my health. This was like the blackout period. I honestly, when I think back to this period, it's like I barely even remember that year. I just know that I got through it. So, eventually, I was unemployed for a little bit, and I eventually graduated and got my master's program. And, by that time, I had actually landed another job. And, I just basically went from like one job to another job. And I pretty much kind of kept around that 347 pounds. So my weight was just basically fluctuate between 347 to 350. There was a point in time where basically I stopped kind of keeping track of my weight. Because I guess at that point in time it was pointless since I would keep on failing things. But yeah, so here's the thing. Eventually, right? Let me see. When did it start? I was working. I worked at different companies. Eventually, I landed in this one trucking company. And then, oh yeah, that's right. COVID happened, right? So during the COVID lockdowns, which, by the way, that was a bad year for me because my cat, if you remember earlier from my story, he had cat leukemia. and eventually it was just eating away at him, and it became so hard to for him to eat. I had to like kind of like put food into like liquefy the food and put it into a syringe, and just like kind of squirt it into his mouth. And so I had to basically force feed him. And it just came to a point in time where I just had to let him go. So I took him to the vet, and they put him down. They didn't do it the right way. The lady, all she did was, because the lady was having a problem finding his vein or whatever because he was so dehydrated. So one lady came in to help her, and what she ended up doing was she took the little blue liquid and she took the syringe and she put it in there, and then she just stuck it in him and just squeezed. And so, yes, there were air inside of that. It wasn't purely the liquid; it was air. She basically used the air to stop his heart. Is what she did. The liquid didn't actually kill him off. It was the air that was inside that tube that she did. But anyway, he passed away in my arms. I insisted that he passed away in my arms because that's where he spent a good portion of his life, was in my arms. And yeah, so eventually that hit me so doggone hard. Then you had the riots. Actually, funny story. An old work buddy from one of my old jobs. We were actually talking about moving to. We were talking about moving to Minneapolis. And then the George Floyd thing happened. I was literally ready to just pack up my stuff and just make a jump to an Airbnb in like Minneapolis. But that didn't work out. And so what ended up happening was I ended up staying in Chicago. I was still dealing with the fallout of my cat, who was there for me since the time I was starving to death, all the way up till 2021. Raised him from a kitten. I was still dealing with that. The George Floyd riots happened. People started losing their crap. The city of Chicago really took a turn for the worst. They were doing crazy stuff like letting criminals out of jail, violent criminals and stuff like that. It was ridiculous. So eventually I just had enough, and I just wanted to leave. So I actually got on a truck. I went and became a trucker. I was working for Prime Inc. And I did trucking for about a year. And whoo-wee! Oh my goodness. So I remember when I started trucking, which was in October 2020, I weighed around 350 pounds. When I got off that truck in 2021, which, by the way, the only reason why I stopped doing trucking was, one, my health was becoming absolutely deplorable. Like, I felt myself just basically starting to slowly die inside. I started feeling pain and stuff like that. It was becoming very hard for me to even move around. Also, I wasn't getting paid right. That was the main reason. So my fleet manager, he was a complete a-hole, and he was booking me on loads that weren't paying anything, and so I was getting tired. I was like, when I was doing my calculation, I was going like, based off my calculation, if this continued, I was only going to make like $60,000 that year, and I was going to like make it $60,000 for what? To live on this truck, because I was trucking 24/7, and I was going to like, man, that's not enough money, because remember, when I did trucking, I was a lease operator, so I was leasing my trucks. So I was making all these high truck payments to Prime. And at the end of the day, I wasn't netting really anything, and they weren't giving me loads that paid. So I said, skip them, and I just got off that truck. I said, you know what? Everything is starting to open up. Let me just go ahead and get off this truck. And so I got off the truck in July of 2021. Oh my God. I got on a scale and I was 376 pounds. I believe I was actually more than that. I think the highest that I've ever weighed was like 385 pounds. So when I got off that truck, I had no plans of going back to Chicago. I just went back to Chicago to get my stuff out of storage. Got in my car. It was a bit rusty from being held up so long. And I just basically just drove to Dallas, Texas. I said, you know what? I want to start over. Let me go to a state where the lockdowns weren't too crazy. So I went to Dallas, Texas. Unfortunately, you know, Dallas, Texas didn't have the spine that I thought it had. I actually had got a pretty decent job in Dallas, Texas, and they were actually paying me a decent amount. I was making about, I think, $45,000 a year, and they wanted me to get a COVID vaccine, which I had no intentions of doing that. I'm not against vaccines. I'm actually pro-vaccines. Vaccines have the place. The problem is that the COOF was not a vaccine. That was gene therapy. If you change your the outer layer of your cell membrane, that's gene therapy. That's not how your cells normally work. Not that I had a problem with that type of technology. It's just that it was too young, and even the creator of that technology was not too keen on that. He even dismissed it, and he even said it was pretty much dangerous, and that's why he gave up on that type of technology. But like I said, had it been like an older technology that's been around for a longer time, I would have, I might have went ahead and got that shot. But the problem is that there wasn't enough testing, and I wasn't going to be a human guinea pig. But if you give me like stuff like I'm perfectly fine with stuff like a measles vaccine. I'm perfectly fine with stuff like that to prevent you from having malaria and stuff like that. I will take a hepatitis shot in a heartbeat. I don't want to bleed from all my orifices. So don't get me. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I enjoy having real technology flowing in my veins, not some experimental crap that had pretty much no testing and stuff like that, and was basically a whole new technology that not even the creator of that technology wanted it to exist. So that's why I didn't really like the COOF. So I said, you know what, skip it, because at the time I was living in an Airbnb. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and check out Jackson. Let me go ahead and check out Florida. Since obviously, because I didn't want to make that long drive to the different cities in Texas, because I was basically going to try each city until I found something that I like. I got so fed up, and since the governor of Florida was doing some really good stuff, I said, you know what, let me go to Florida. So the game plan was that I was going to try each city in Florida until something stuck, and what I needed was I just needed to find a job. So I came to Jacksonville. That was going to be my first stop, and then I was going to go to either Orlando or Tampa, and then if nothing stuck there, I was going to jump to Miami. So I was essentially just going to stay in each city for about 3 months, and if I couldn't find anything within that period of time, I was just going to move on to the next one. So I was in Jacksonville, and I moved here like December of 2021, and I found a job by February, and I'm still with that company that I'm currently working at here in Jacksonville. So I end up settling down in Jacksonville, and that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm doing my videos from. And that's how I just ended up in Jacksonville. So now about that 376, by the time I got, off the truck, and even back when I was in Dallas, I was basically, doing things. I was mostly focused on my diet because I just needed to get away from this number as much as possible. In 2022, I'm now like fully like in Jacksonville. I'm still living in Airbnb, and I started like really putting in more effort than I was in Dallas, because I really wasn't doing what I wanted in Dallas. I made some good gains. I got out of that 370 range. But in 2022 is when I kind of like picked it up a little bit more. I was reducing the junk food. Uh, Eventually, I got an apartment, and this is a company that I'm working with, like Southern Impressions Home. I started getting back into the flow of being an accountant and living my normal lifestyle. I was still boggled down. The debt kind of was growing. During the Biden's administration, my debt was basically going through the roof because of the higher cost of living. Now, mind you, when I first looked at Jacksonville, it was a whole lot cheaper. But by the time that I actually got here, the rent became ridiculous. My little brother eventually moved in with me, but he was being a lazy bum. The dude did not bother to contribute to to the whole movement that I was trying to do of getting in shape. He actually kind of took away from that because he would encourage to get like fast food when I'm at my weakest, which is after work. He was like, "Hey, yeah, I got a coupon for some DoorDash," and we would just end up ordering food. And so yeah, that pretty much messed me up. So yeah, my debt was growing. I was wasting money on fast food thanks to my little brother. He also was not working. He was just playing video games all day, trying to do these little harebrained schemes with crypto and stuff like that, which never worked out. And my debt just went through the roof, and it just came to the point where I now have like about $24,000 in debt. And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And so I would say like 2022, 2023, it's like I tried to get back into the flow, but I just couldn't do it. It's like I kept self-sabotaging, and the stress just kind of got at me. However, I will say this. For a little bit, I was dieting and exercising, and I did manage to get down to like 350 pounds. And that's why this number is important to me. And so, like, here we are now. This is now 2024. We're actually halfway through the year. And it took some time. Eventually, my little brother did move out. He moved out last year. And eventually, I kind of just settled into this lifestyle where I can't really do anything because I got a lot of debt. And, I'm paying off my debt. I am determined to pay it off. I don't want to declare bankruptcy or anything like that. I'm not trying to destroy my credit. So, yeah, I'm just, when my little brother left, he left me with this high rent. And at this point in time, rent is so crazy that I'm just sticking with my current place. I pay like $1,300 a month. So I'm just going to keep on paying $1,300 a month. At least I have this second bedroom, which I now use as an office. So that's pretty good. And so, yeah, and here we are. Last time I weighed myself, I think I was like at 355 or 354. So, yeah. That is the story of my fat. That's why each of these markers represent a very important part of my life. Just to go through it again, 228 pounds, that was my high school weight. This was when I was at my fastest. 290 pounds. This was when my mother passed away. This is when I first went down to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And again, this was like the first time in my life I ever made it up to like 290 pounds. 274 pounds. This was when I was at my physical strongest. And this was when I was basically part of Army ROTC. Back when I was attending the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Then my weight went back up to this 290 pounds. Back when I was in college, and after leaving University of Illinois, going to IADT, And then dropping out of IEDT, I end up couldn't find a job, and so I ended up starving all the way down to like 239 pounds. I went from 290 to 239 pounds in like, I think like 2 or 3 months. Absolute insanity. And I was literally just eating donations that I got from a food bank. I wanted to join the military actually, but at this time I weighed like 239 pounds, and the Army wouldn't let me in. Like, I was just 239, but they said no, you have to get down to 215 pounds. And that's what 215 pounds mean to me. 215 pounds basically means a goal weight, because this was a crossroad. If I had got down to 215 pounds back in 2011, I would have joined the military and I would have had a completely different life outcome. I'm not even sure if I would have went to college and got my degree in accounting. Who knows what would have happened while I was in the military. So that 239, that played a significant part. And then going all the way back up to 290, and then eventually working at Bobby E. Wright, and I have this blackout period, 303 pounds. That's what that means. It just means the start of something bad, which led me to weighing as high as like 347 pounds. This 303 was the beginning of a blackout period. And 376 pounds to me, it just represents the time I was on that truck. And this really kind of like set off a lot of health problems. But yeah, I was on that truck, and COVID, that truck just wasn't a good mix for me. And 350, 350 is just a marker for when I really started to put in some effort over these last few years. 250 was the lowest that I got my weight down to since I got off that truck. And I'm in that range right now. So that is the story of my fat. I understand this video went way longer than what I wanted. I'm probably just going to go ahead and push that workout because it's already 8:07. Wow. I'm going to save this pre-workout for tomorrow, and I am going to work out in the morning. Tomorrow was supposed to be my fast, but I'm just going to go ahead and work out tomorrow because this pre-workout rant went way too long, and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can actually pull up some photos. Let me see. Yes. So this photo right here, this was when I basically starved down to like about 239 pounds. Again, this was me when I was at U of I. This was me when I graduated from DeVry. So at this time, I should have been like around 290 pounds or a little bit less. Let's see, what was a good point in time where the weight stacked on? Let's see, so this should have been 2018. So this should have been around the time when my weight was like probably like around 347. Oh, it's crispy. And this was my trucking days. So this is what I looked like when I was trucking for Prime. This is me inside my truck. See, I got my little bandana on. Yeah. So this was me when I got to my heaviest. It came a point in time where I didn't really take too many pictures of myself. So I don't really have too many pictures which kind of illustrate like the full story. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see, do I have... Actually, kitty cat, move your bun. Move your bun, boy. Actually, you know what? Look, I do have some photos of when I was trying to lose weight. See me in the gym. Let's see, this is 2017. Like I said, I've been in and out of the gym. Let's see, at this time I should have been working... what company was I working for here? I think at this time I should have weighed like around 350 pounds. I was working for a company in Chicago. I forgot the name of it. My sister took me out. This is when I actually graduated and I got my master's degree. So my sister took me out to this crab shack. Planet Fitness 2018. So you see I was still trying to lose some weight. See that fro? I barely had any facial hair. Let's see. This is back in 2020. Wow. So this was me just trying to get down. Here you go. At this time, I weighed 362 pounds. So yeah, this is wow. So in 2020, my weight, wow, 362 pounds. So yeah, I hope I was able to find a few images to show you what I kind of looked like around this time. But yeah, this has been the story of my fat. I know I was kind of all over the place with this, but I just wanted to share with you guys, like, how I ended up as I am. Give you a little bit of my background. So you guys have like a good idea of, who it is that you're looking at. And, you have a good idea now, like, I'm human. I'm human just like you. And you all have like your own stories about your own like fitness and your own health. And I kind of encourage you to like write it down. I think next what I'll do for, my little Excel sheet is I think I'm going to like include like more pictures, see if I can find pictures from that time period and have it like next to it. That way I have more reference materials to look at. Man, that was a lot heavier than what I thought it would be. I was a lot heavier than what I thought it'd be. I didn't know sharing this. I didn't know that I was basically carrying this story around, and the story had some weight to it. The story of my fat, no pun intended, is very heavy. And it feels good telling you guys this. I don't really expect much people to watch this entire video. and that's fine. But I just wanted to put this out there, you know, so that you guys can see, you know, what it is that I've, you know, been through. And really finally just get this off of my chest. I feel a whole lot better. Anyway, I think this is a good point to end the video. We've gone over so much in this video. We've gone over we've gone over the workouts that we're doing, maybe some possible changes in the future. We've gone over Turkesterone, or however you say it, that I'm thinking about trying out, or maybe just doing for a video series. And we went over the story of my fat, which was, I told you earlier that this was going to be a long video before, but man, this was like way longer than what I thought it was going to be. But anyway, I will catch you guys next time on PreWorkOut Chat. And I catch you guys later. Remember, stay on the path. I know life can be hard, but I'm rooting for you. And I hope you're rooting for me too.